Welcome back, Purple's Pod. I know we said we weren't going to always talk about the Rockets, but it's basketball season, and I'm able to keep with the Rockets the most easily. So, we'll explore different options in the off season, maybe some sports betting. So, yeah, holy frick. Um, so I grew up, Oklahoma, little backstory, grew up in Oklahoma. Obviously, a Thunder fan growing up. Circumstances have changed, which has made me cheer for the Rockets. And then go into every game. Honestly, become a big fan of the players. But I want to start by saying that I love and respect Oklahoma City's culture. Their players are always together in those post-game interviews. They're always laughing, having a great time. Um, and what a rebuild! They've done it right. They growing with some young stars. They haven't rushed anything. Obviously, losing Russell Westbrook and Paul George there. They've been able to grow from that. Gain picks, ridiculous number of picks, and those trades, along with the Chris Paul trade. They've been great. And truly a great rebuild so far. You have Shea and Chet and Jalen Williams as those young pieces to grow around, and I think they're a lot closer than people would have thought at this point. And I think people even still probably don't believe in them. They don't have really any postseason experience. I know Shea, had the 7-game series, I believe, against the Rockets, the Chris Paul year, in the bubble, I think that was, along with like Lou Dort and stuff. But for the majority of this team, they don't have any playoff experience. They do kind of play an old man game. Shea's kind of mid-range, get to the basket, rim pressure. Same kind of with J-Dub, but they kind of play the old man game, so I don't see it going away too much in the playoffs, but I'm sure the experience will come into play. I don't think they're necessarily going to win the title, but I think nobody wants to play them, I'm sure. That's just my take on Oklahoma City. Shout out to all my Oklahomies that make fun of me for cheering for the Rockets when the Thunder are playing well. Anyway, we're going to recap both the Oklahoma City and the Houston games here. Both games, the Rockets kind of started off pretty good, They were in it, they were fighting, they were close, they were even leading the one in Toyota Center. Halftime, they looked really good. And the talent just took over for the Thunder in the second halves. And, the Thunder have been the better team, for the last 3 years. And they had not won Toyota Center, I believe, in the last 5 games in Toyota Center. And it looked like that could have been the case that first game in Houston, but as I said, the talent kind of took over down the stretch. We'll just kind of get into some stats here from game 1. Şengün finished with 19 and 12. To be honest, a lot of that was late. He wasn't good. His wasn't aggressive. They double teamed him quick. He was struggling. We just don't have good shooting. He the length of Chet makes it hard. It just wasn't a good game for him. Down the stretch, to kind of stay within somewhat striking distance, he played well. They kept feeding him the ball. He was making the most of that late game. But to be honest, it was kind of a stat padding. Not like he was intentionally trying to pad his stats, but that's just kind of when it ended up. Jabari has been on a freaking tear. First game there in Houston, he had 20 and 17. Was him and Chet were going. He got the better of Chet. He was playing good defense on him. Anytime for the first 3 quarters, Jabari was Chet's primary defender, I would say. And while Chet ended up with a ridiculous stat line, I think he had 19 in the fourth quarter. That wasn't on Jabari. Jabari was amazing when playing defense on Chet, rebounding the ball at a ridiculous rate these last 3 games. 20 points. Wasn't his most efficient night, but he played well, played great defense, rebounded the ball well. Sorry if I'm kind of out of frame here. I'm kind of leaning over. Fred VanVleet had a little 2-game stretch there. 23 and 3. Looked solid. Nothing crazy, nothing bad. Yeah, I'm not too mad about it. The game in Houston. It feels like we kind of let one go. We were in it, and then we just kind of bogged down. So it's a little disappointing. But okay, it's just defeating the way this team's been playing lately. Jalen Green had 11, 7 and 4, 5 of 13. I was wanted to focus on some positivity down the stretch here. But man, dude, I think it's just not there's not that much to be positive right now, man. And Şengün, I think clearly shows that he's an all-star player. Is he a superstar? Not yet. As a Şengün stan, as I am, he's just not. But he's 21. It's his third year. His first 2 years were with a guy that actively tried to sabotage him. And he's learning, man. I mean, he's the only freaking offense on this team that can consistently create for himself and others at a high level. So, and there's not any shooting around him. So, I mean, it is what it is. He's not a superstar yet. Surrounded by the right talent, I think he could be. And I'm so freaking tired of Rockets Twitter. I don't even tweet about the Rockets. But reading some of the stuff, people just want to hate. They want to pick a player and hate the rest of the team. Be a freaking Houston Rockets fan, for Christ's sakes. I don't care whether it's Şengün fan, Jalen Green fan, whatever. I'm a huge Şengün fan. I transitioned to a Rockets fan. I went to every game for the last 2 years almost. He wasn't even in the starting lineup, and I was like, that's the best part of this team, I could tell. And what the frick? I don't care. I'll call him out. He has a bad game. Like I said, like that 19 and 12, stat padding. His defense was horrible. I didn't mention that. His defense was horrible against Chet. It was bad. I can call him out. I still like him as a freaking player. I want the Rockets to freaking win, for Christ's sakes. I go to these games. I'm tired of watching them lose. I don't care if he puts up 40 and 40. We lose. I'm freaking tired of it. Jalen Green's been bad. You can say he's been bad. I don't think he'll be bad for his whole career. I think he has some upside. I think the right situation, the right coaching, like he could reach that. I don't think it's with the Rockets, and that's okay. Doesn't mean I hate the guy. I freaking love him. He's created some amazing highlights. I've watched a couple 40-point games from him. He's been good. Last year, not this year. He's been good. It's fun to watch. He's athletic, he's dynamic, he's a nice guy, it seems. Like, all his interviews and stuff, he's a young kid. He's learning, man, but he's been bad. It is what it is. Dillon Brooks, oh my gosh. Dillon Brooks has been so bad since the All-Star break, basically. I think he had one good game against the Suns, but what is happening? He was unplayable, I felt like, for a lot of this, which is not good. It was the Suns game. That was when he's unplayable. It's just been bad, dude. He's been bad. He's reverting to Memphis Dillon Brooks, dude. And his defense is not as good, and his offense has taken a dip. He's forcing shots. He's not playing within the offense, and he's losing some efficiency, man. I didn't even write stats down because I don't even really want to talk about it. It was bad. It's bad. It's been bad. It's been bad. Moving on to game 2 here. Like I said, Jabari was great on Chet, but then Oklahoma City, they kind of stopped playing Giddey there in that fourth, which we were hiding Şengün on. And then he kind of had to be the primary defender on Chet, and he just didn't defend him. I don't know what else he just let him shoot. Fuck, I don't know, dude. It was disappointing. Like, the game itself, overall, I mean, they're the best team, one of the best teams in the West. They're clearly above us. Like, losing that game, it's not that deflating, but just it feels deflating. I don't know how to explain it. Game 2. All right. Well, there's 2 people that showed up to play. 2 people. That's it. I didn't talk about Amen Thompson. He was all right the first game. Pretty good defense. Pretty elite defense. Kind of ineffective on offense though, but it's gonna happen. Cam wasn't great. Wasn't great either. Şengün. Finally, he's honestly. I mean, for the last month, he's been bad. Really since January 1, probably since the turn of the new year. He hasn't been the same as he was, but definitely for I'd say the last month, he's been kind of bad. But fuck, man, finally, he looked like Şengün. He looked like the guy. 23, 11, and 6. Shaq called him out at halftime. Said he's a great player. If he was surrounded by more talent, then shoot. Sorry. Surrounded by more talent, then he would thrive. I agree with that statement. This is kind of my rant about Rockets Twitter earlier. Like, oh, we can't build around Shingo. We got greats. And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those guys like, oh, these guys are great players. They know what they're talking about. They don't. They all don't. They don't. Just because they're in the NBA, just because they were great. But Shaq is a guy that I would say probably knows what he's talking about. Definitely more than some random guy on Twitter, right? Great game. Great game for Shingun. Thank God. It's been hurting watching him not play well, to be honest. It's been hurting my soul. Maybe that's why I was so deflated about the first game. I believe not a super great start, not a bad start here. And then going into halftime, I mean, it was pretty close. I think we started playing well. Going into halftime, last couple minutes of the second quarter was not good. Really going in down 10 only. Honestly, probably W. That didn't really matter. Did not keep it close really in that second half. Jabari, another great game. Like I said, he's been hot. 18 and 13. His rebounding numbers are ridiculous. His defense has been great. But that's the extent of the positivity through these games. Shingun and Jabari there. Fred VanVleet, 5 points, 5 assists, 2 of 11 from the field. Everybody's going to shit on Jalen. It is what it is. Fred VanVleet's got to be better if we're going to have any sort of chance. He doesn't have to score 20, but he can't shoot 2 of 11. And if he's only going to score 5 points, he needs to have like 10 assists. Like, I get that we didn't sign him to be an all-star level player, right? We signed him to be a top-tier leader, and for the most part, it's kind of been what he has been. But you got to play better too, man. You got to play better. His play has really regressed as well recently. I think it has a lot to do with the injury he's been dealing with and the leading the NBA minutes for a long period of time, and how reliant this offense and such was on him. And I think it's showing. He's wearing down. So yeah. 4 ball. Jalen 16, 6 and 3, 6 and 17. I don't think that really shows the full picture. 16, 6 and 3, not bad. 6 and 17 is not good. He did lead the starters in plus minus, whatever you want to take that, but it does not show the full picture there. He was bad in the first half. I think he kind of played a little bit better there the second, but man, I'm just defeated. I'm sorry, this is no energy, but man, this is just deflating. Gosh, I'm getting bit with my arms. Just deflating. Down the stretch, just want to see us compete and play some good basketball. I don't think we're going to make the play-in, but I'd like to see us develop an offense around Shingun or something where everybody can thrive or play fast or something. I like to see something. I don't know what. I just like to see something positive. Amen Thompson, I get he's been using that Duggar spot, been effective, but man, he's been playing well. Develop his point guard skills, man. Let him run the offense a little bit. I felt like we used him too much off ball both of these games, particularly the second game. We used off ball a lot, and it kind of neutralized his effect. I kind of like what the Thunder did with Giddey. Giddey's not a shooter either. Very similar to Amit, who's a terrible defender. But offensively, kind of similar. Not really as athletic, but he's long, tall, point guard skills, good passing. They kind of set some screens with him, used him as a screener, a super athletic role guy. That's something that Ahmed could do theoretically off ball as well. That's just me spitballing. I think he should be used more on ball anyway. So who cares? These 2 games were kind of defeating. Oklahoma State's a good team. It just didn't look good. First half of games looked all right. And it was. I don't know, man. I'd like to see, heading into next year, I really want to see us continue to develop Shingun-based offense here. He's clearly the guy. Stop trying to force guys to grow. They're not ready at this point in the season, right? I'm not saying Shingun has to be the only focal point and the only option, but he's the guy. Treat him like the guy for once. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I would really... Going into next year, I enjoy the Dylan Brooks and the Fred VanVleet signings for the first part of the season, but both have regressed significantly the second half. And I think Dylan Brooks could still be valuable to a contender. I think you look to move him if Tari Eason is healthy. If Tari Eason is healthy, you move Dylan Brooks. I think Tari's the guy, dude. I've went back and watched some Tari highlights over the last couple of days because I miss him so freaking much. And he's so versatile. I know shooting was like a concern of his coming into the NBA, and he's not a like lights out shooter, but he shoots well enough. I saw a stat today and like catch and shoot threes, open catch and shoot threes. He was shooting above 40%. I think he fits well with Şengün and the cutting and the offensive rebounding, and he shorts up some of our rebounding woes at times. Dylan Brooks does not rebound the ball, so I love Tari. I think he's the answer at 3. If you don't want him to be answer at 3, you can start Cam, and he can be like the bench guy. He does bring a lot of energy. I don't mind him off the bench. He doesn't have to be a starter. He's going to be effective whatever role he's in. So I think you start Cam or Tari at the 3. The other one off the bench is a great choice, I think. Cam next year ideally grows a little bit and super scoring punch off the bench, and then or Tari. Super energy, high defense, IQ, and rebounding off the bench. Massive. I think either one off the bench is good. Either one in starting role is good. Don't mind either one. I think that's your options at 3. Tari can play that 4 a little bit as well, so you can play both of them together. Doesn't matter. They can play the 2. Doesn't matter. I think you trade Jalen Green. I don't really care what you get for him. Just trade him. Get a shooting guard that can shoot. Get a shooting guard that can shoot. Play defense. Right? Shoot, play defense. Fred VanVleet with the 30-year team option is effectively an expiring deal. I don't know if you trade him this offseason, but I think by next deadline, I think he's gone. And then you let Almond start to take over there. And I think you're starting to look good. Now, does this help us win more games? Not necessarily, depending on who you get from these trades. But you're starting to grow more. And I think maybe not next year, but the year after that, I think is where the young core with Şengün and Tari and Jabari and Amin and Cam and whoever you trade for in these pieces, I think maybe draft potentially these Brooklyn picks, I think, are really take that next step, I know we want to make the playoffs, and everybody wants to see their team in the playoffs, but the West is so deep right now that even if we make the playoffs, like, are we going to make it out of the first round over the next 2 years? Probably not. But, potentially LeBron James retiring soon. The fall of the Warriors is already starting to happen, but potentially could completely fall apart in the coming years with Draymond and Clay really declining and potentially Steph starting to as well soon, The Suns, I think Bradley Beal is past his prime, and I think that'll show in the next couple of years. And then, Kevin Durant is getting old as well. Potential retirement upon the horizon, at least a large regression. Denver has got to fall apart at some point. I think the Mavs will probably take a massive step. And then obviously you've got Oklahoma City, they're growing at the moment. And then you got Minnesota, who's looking good. Like, the West is never really probably going to be weak, but, you can lose some of this competition. And then, 2 years from now, I think is a good goal to be competitive in the playoffs. I do want to make the playoff next year. I think it is possible, but I don't want to stunt the growth and the development of letting these young guys take massive leaps, potentially in year 3 or beyond. Whatever. Amin and Cam and Jabari. Kind of going year 4. I don't want to stunt that. I want that to be the main priority because they're ready. Like, they're ready to play now. Should they be feature guys? Maybe not. So. Some of these moves I'm talking about, maybe you wait till the deadline or even after next year, I guess. But, yeah, it's tough. Because I want to be competitive. I want to make playoffs. But how this team is built right now, it's not really, it's not ready for it. So I think some of the moves I'm talking about maybe make us a little bit worse of a team, but I think we'll be more exciting to watch. Defeated Rockets fan. Signing out here.